What's going on, everybody? This is the baddest black belt Janai Kai, and you are watching O-Face Wrestling.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on O-Face Wrestling. This is your host JT, and today I'm joined by Janai Kai. So thanks for joining us today, Janai.
Hi, thank you for.
Absolutely. So Janai, got some interesting questions for you. The first one that you've probably been asked like a million times. What inspired you to become a professional wrestler?
Oh, okay. So when I was little, like I always went to wrestling shows with my dad, like specifically WWE shows. He liked going to the live events. And once I just started going, I loved the feeling of just being there and the way that wrestling made me feel reaction-wise. So that's how I really just started getting into it. And then I watched more to Jerry and Rob Van Dam. Those were like really my favorites. So that's what really wanted me to like get more into it and eventually want to do wrestling.
So I know that I believe you trained to be a black belt. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a black belt.
Taekwondo. Okay, so that happened before your wrestling career, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay, so like, was like your goal to be a wrestler originally, or did you decide, hey, you want to do this, and then the wrestling kind of thing kind of came like after that, or did you want to be like a wrestler beforehand, but just somehow did that first?
um, so when I started doing Taekwondo, it was around the same time I started watching wrestling. So if anything, I really wanted to. The first thing that came to mind was being like a martial arts actress, like doing stunt work. I still want to do that, but as I have grown to love wrestling more and more, I figured like this is something that's kind of similar. I can implement my martial arts background into it. So, um, starting like at 13 years old, that's when I knew for sure that I wanted to wrestle.
So how do you feel like training to be a black belt and martial arts and all that? How do you feel like that benefited you when you started training to become a wrestler?
Um, well, the first day when I started, the trainers really had me do a bunch of things. So I wasn't even sure how exactly I was going to do, but it looked like for me, it was kind of easy for me to do like all of the basics, like ring training, like the ring awareness, footwork, rolls, like that was very natural to me. So I think as far as starting up, it was good for me. Like I was catching up pretty quick.
So I have to ask, like, was there any kind of difficulty kind of transitioning from, the martial arts to wrestling? Because, in wrestling, you're trained to not just protect yourself, but your opponent, versus, martial arts, you're trained to like kick someone's ass, basically. So it's kind of like you have to kind of rewire your brain a little bit. Was there any difficulty there?
There was a little bit. They did have to show me a few tweaks when it came to certain strikes. I was still able to kind of put in my type of technique, but I had to hold back a little bit, if you know what I mean. Like, not too hard, but it's still right. And it looks legit still.
Exactly, yeah, because I know like there's been times where like you got someone from MMA coming to WWE and they're a little bit rougher and
Yeah.
like injuring people and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not intentional, but just like you just have that instinct to pull a little harder or whatever, depending on the kind of move and stuff like that. So, speaking of like the black belt and all that kind of stuff, so I usually ask like, what inspired, a wrestler's character. I can, only assume that your character is inspired by the fact that you are, a black belt and all that kind of stuff. So I'm assuming that was just like a no-brainer for you when you were thinking of a character like, hey, I'm already doing this. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. Um, it was very easy to actually think about how I wanted to be in the ring. And I've been thinking about it again since I was little. Like, if I was a wrestler, how would I want to be? I'm like, I definitely want to show that I'm a martial artist. So that's what I'm going to do. So always had that in my mind. And then just seeing other martial artists who are wrestlers in the ring doing it inspired me, like to Jerry and Rob Van Dam. So I was like, you know what, legit, I will do that, represent women's wrestling that way as well. So
Yeah, it's pretty dope. Like I haven't really seen too many wrestlers out there who do that kind of gimmick. So I think it's pretty cool. It stands out, and I think it's badass looking. I always think of like Bruce Lee and stuff like that. I remember watching some of his movies back when I was younger. So I think it's pretty cool. I really dig the character and everything, and it's cool that it's actually something that's a part of you. It's not just, oh, I'm gonna portray this character. It's you. So I think that's cool.
yes, definitely, it's definitely me in the ring, 100%. Like what you see, how I act and everything is me.
That's you, yep. Because sometimes that's not really who the person is. They're just a character, which is cool and all. But then when that's actually really you, that's also pretty cool as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if I saw it on either your Twitter or your Instagram, but you had like a link to your Twitch streaming. So I'm assuming you're a really big gamer.
I actually just started getting into more gaming recently. Yeah, I didn't play games a lot growing up. It was mainly my boyfriend who got me into it. He like built his own PC like a year ago, and he was like, you know what, you should do this. You should stream. Like a lot of girls stream on Twitch too. I'm like, all right. And I checked it out. I was like, I don't play a lot of games, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. And eventually I figured out what kind of games I like, which is like scary games. So I play a lot of scary games on Twitch. I built my own PC. Well, he helped me build my PC. And I started my Twitch stream account and everything. So it's going really well. So yeah, I have that up on everywhere actually. My link is everywhere.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. I was like, I gotta bring this up because I'm a big gamer myself. So anytime I could talk gaming on, any of my episodes, I get really excited about it. Yeah. So I like a lot of horror games as well, and I love watching people stream them. Anytime I have a friend who streams, like, you gotta play like Outlast or you gotta play Evil Within, like, those are the funnest games to watch people play, especially Outlast. Like that game is scary.
Yeah, I have that. I already installed it and everything. That's the next game I'm going to stream.
Yeah, it's fun because like I feel like it's kind of something new within the last few years, like horror games where you can't fight back, like you literally have to run and hide, and there's no bigger thrill than not being able to fight back. Like
Yeah.
Alien Isolation is similar to that as well. That was
Yeah.
that was. Yeah, I've been like meaning to replay it for years now, and I just never get around to it. But it was great. It was exactly like how an alien game should be. I know at the end it got a little crazy with too many aliens, but it was fun.
Yeah, it is.
And I know you brought up like your boyfriend builds PC. I know a few people who built their own PC and they act like it's so easy, but I'm like, I don't think I could ever do that. I know it's cheaper to do it that way, but I, for the love of God, would never be able to do that. I'd rather just buy like a $1,000 like Apple computer or something like that.
Yeah, it's I was watching him for the most part building it because he likes to do it. So I'm like, all right, you enjoy it, you do it for me. I'll watch you and I'll learn a little bit so that the next time whenever I'm going to do this, or if I'm going to switch parts out, then I'll do it myself. But yeah, I let him do it since he loves it.
So I've always been curious, like how long does it take?
Well, let's see. It took a few hours. For him, when I was watching him build his PC, it took a longer time because it was his first time. So the fact that it was his second time building a PC, it took only like 3 or 4 hours for him to get it all together. And the other thing is, it's one thing to build the PC itself. It's just like connecting it to the monitor, making sure like it turns on and all of that. So that's another time frame too, to make sure that is all going correctly.
Yeah, it's like I feel like for me, like I just wouldn't have the patience. Like I tried taking apart my PS4 about like 2 years ago because it wasn't playing the disc. I was like, maybe it just needs to be clean. Let me try to mess with this, and it took me like an hour, and I screwed it. Like, and I was trying to put it back together. It just wasn't going in the right way. I was like, I screwed up. Like when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm afraid to touch it. Like
yeah, but this thing too, the power supply was the issue. Like it wasn't going well with the monitor. So we had to buy a new power supply, because that happens too when people are building PCs, something doesn't work, which means that they bought a part that was basically dead. So that kind of sucks too, because they're just taking all this time to build, and then all of a sudden they find out that one of the parts is dead and they have to order a new one. So it's hard, but eventually it's worth it.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I know like it's gaming computers, like a good gaming computer runs so well from what I've heard. And I don't know, like I was into gaming like on a computer back when I was like in middle school. Like I actually had a pretty decent computer back then, but just like I just don't like playing like with the mouse and all. Like I know nowadays you can actually like hook a controller up and do it, but I cannot game with like the mouse and keyboard. It's just weird for me. Like I remember playing like the original Call of Duty, and like I eventually got used to it, but it still never felt right. Like I was always with the controller and all that.
It is very. I had a controller, but it was my boyfriend, so I have to buy my own if anything. But for right now, I'm using the keyboard and the mouse.
Yeah, I mean, if you get used to it, I guess it works,
Yeah.
But there's nothing better than the controller at the end of the day, in my opinion.
I see that though. I do see that how it's better.
Yeah, it's right there versus you get to click, and sometimes you'll click the wrong key thing,
Yeah,
stuff
exactly.
like that.
I feel so dumb just looking down for a second.
That's what I have to do all the time. I'm looking down and not at the game, and I was like, I can't do this, and
Yeah.
then yeah, just the only games that really work on the PC properly is like The Sims, like because that's you just like click what you got to do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now my next question. So back to wrestling. So what is a stipulation that you haven't done in the ring that you want to do the most?
Hmm. Oh, I don't know. I've done a street fight already where it's just basically like just use any weapons. And I've used my martial arts weapons. I would like to do that again, but as far as something else, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm really down for anything, to be honest. So,
Would you ever do anything like crazy, like thumbtacks, fire, like those like hardcore kind of stuff?
death matches or
Death
something.
matches, yeah, stuff like that.
For my own health and my age, I don't think it's wise for me. I don't know. I don't think so. Kudos to everyone else who does it, but my body can't hold that up.
Because like I've seen like videos and some of the crazy stuff people have done on the indies and like these death matches. Like one guy had like some kind of electric like little saw, and he like slit the guy's head. And I'm like, I hope they're paying you good for this, because I'm not gonna potentially kill myself or some kind of big scar on my forehead. Like that's just, people do some insane things. Like actually I saw on Facebook one time, there was like, it was a match in like Japan or something like that. They had a fish tank in the ring with piranha, and
Oh
he
my
threw
God.
the guy in there, then put like a board over top of it and sat on it so he couldn't get out. And you could see like the blood coming from the piranha, like picking at him. I was like, you could not pay me enough to do something like
I'm pretty
that.
get paid decent for that. As far as me, yeah, I would just go as far as doing another street fight, and that's it. I'm good.
So you said you use martial art weapons. Have you ever like used nunchucks in a match?
Mm-hmm. I had a street fight like in 2019, and they said, okay, we're gonna have a street fight. Think of ideas that you want to do. I'm like, hey, I got martial arts weapons. I'm a martial artist. I think it makes sense for me to bring these guys over to the match. So they're like, yeah, do it. And I brought my nunchucks. I brought my bow staffs. And I just started hitting the girl with the nunchuck for a part of the match. So yeah, I definitely have.
Yeah, I gotta look up that match. You gotta send me the link on Twitter, because I want to watch that, because I've seen like nunchucks in a match once, and that was like an Impact with Mia Yim. But like, how hard is it to actually use them? Because I remember on a Bruce Lee movie, one guy tried using it, he like hit his face with it. Like I can imagine how dangerous and like hard.
It's pretty difficult, a little frustrating, because you do kind of tend to just hit yourself sometimes. It happened to me. It sucks. But it takes a lot of patience, to be honest. The main thing really for me is bow staff. That's the one that I stuck with the most. I took nunchuck classes, but I always gravitated towards bow staff. So yeah, it is pretty hard, but you can get it over time.
So have you mastered to the point where you're like really quick and doing like the little swirly things and all that?
Not too quick. I would love to get speed chucks, which because the nunchucks I have, they're a little bit thicker and heavier. Speed chucks are lighter and they're smaller. So I would like to try those to see how fast I do look when I do everything. But I can do like up, down, over the hand type thing. I just want to see how it looks with like smaller chucks.
Okay, yeah, because I've that's always something I've been interested in learning. Because just like Napoleon Dynamite's what got me into it when he's like, I got my nunchucks in my locker. Like, I kind of want some nunchucks. And I see like every now and then I see those like ninja star things that you throw. Like I've been wanting to buy them. I see them every now and then at like the mall.
There's a website that I was actually looking at online that has a bunch of ninja weapons. And I have to send you that. But it's crazy. They have ninja stars, like ninja chains and everything. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, if anything, try out a weapon, man. Like try out different ones, see what you like. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it looks fun. I remember like the when I got my tattoo for the first time when I was like 18, the tattoo place they had like the martial art weapons and stuff like that. I was like, it's kind of random they have it at a tattoo place, but I was like, I really wanted the stars, but my girlfriend at the time would not let me buy them, and they weren't even really that expensive either. I can understand they're like $100, but I think they were maybe like $20.
Oh,
And she wouldn't let me buy them, and I was really pissed off. But yeah, hopefully another opportunity will come, but just I prefer those are something I would want to buy in person just to make sure like I get like a good quality, so it's not like you see those kind of stores like every mall or something like that. But actually I saw the store like that when I was in Tennessee back in December, and I was tight with money, so I was like, I'm not even gonna bother looking. I don't want to get teased.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's that stuff's pretty cool and all. It's just it's new for me, so it's like I want to make sure I get something really cool to start off with.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'll definitely find out which one you like the most, and even look at videos online because I still do that. I look at a lot of bow staff videos because I still practice bow staff. I actually have mine over here. This is mine, and you've probably seen these. I make videos a lot with this one, but I'm trying to get more. I have, but I'm trying to get a lot more in different colors. So
Oh yeah, that would be pretty dope. Is that more on your other side? It looks like behind you. Other side. I see like.
This is a tripod.
Okay, I saw like a long pole.
I have other ones. I have these two. These are more like practice traditional bow staffs. So I barely use these ones. These were given to me by my dad. But the smaller one I definitely use because it's more like competition demo based. So
Well, they look pretty cool. That's something I'm probably look into too. I want to start off with the stars though, and then if I really like that, like maybe the nunchucks. I don't know if I'll ever use them though. They might just be a display piece. That's one thing I'm just afraid to use, but I really want them at the same time.
Yeah, if anything, start off with the hard foam ones. Don't get wooden ones yet. Like, because if you want to try it, you won't hurt yourself too much.
Yeah, I'll go into work the next day with like a broken nose or something like that.
That happens.
It happened. I was playing with nunchucks. Yeah, they're like, you sure you didn't get punched by your wife? I was like, no, it was nunchucks. But yeah, now for the next question. So what are your three, if you could think of it on top of your head, your three top goals for your wrestling career?
Three tops. The first one that I always talk about in every interview, every time or anytime anyone asks me, is to make a name for myself in Japan. That's one place I want to travel to, one place I really want to wrestle and stay at for a while. That's the first top one. Second one is overall, I just see myself also just representing like my style because my style is very different. And I've ran into a lot of occasions where people haven't really fully accepted it because it's not the norm to just do a bunch of kicks and like martial arts type style in the ring. So I really want to establish that and make it known, like, Janai Kai is martial artist wrestler. Like, when you think a martial artist in the ring, you think of me type thing. So that's like one thing I really want to do, like make a name for myself in that sense as well. And of course, like, get signed to a company, whatever that may be, and make it on TV, because I haven't been on TV yet. So definitely want to do that.
And I hope to see you on TV one day. I know NXT's been signing a lot of women from the Indies lately, and then of course, AEW, they have women from the Indies all the time on Dark. So the opportunities are out there, and I definitely think that you'll get one of those one day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hopefully this year. Now, final question. If you could have a WrestleMania match against anyone on the planet, they don't have to be working with WWE. It could be Impact, Indies, AEW, whatever. Who would you choose?
A WrestleMania? Well, I would definitely go with the one who really has empowered me, like, before I do any of my matches. And she retired, but I just always watch her matches. She always goes hard in the ring, and that's Kagetsu. She was on Stardom, and she had to retire last year. Her last match was against Meiko Satomura. So I definitely would love to just have a big match against her.
See, I have a friend who's really into Stardom. She's been telling me for the longest time, I need to watch it. I need to get into it. Just there's so much darn wrestling out there. It's hard to kind of keep up with it. And I'm kind of afraid that if I like it, I'll be just so overwhelmed with wrestling. So it's I want to get more into it, and hopefully one day I do. But I've heard so many great things about that promotion.
Yeah, very great. I think they're just ahead of me. When you watch the matches, you know, I'm still seeing things that I just haven't seen before from Stardom. So that's definitely one promotion in Japan. That's the most known in Japan, but there's other women's promotions as well. So I can see where you can kind of get a little overwhelmed with Japanese wrestling in Japan, just Japanese wrestling in general, not just the women's wrestling. But yeah, it's really good. They're ahead of time. The roster right now is just killing it, so I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I believe, and didn't Asuka and Io Shirai come from Stardom?
Io Shirai did. Asuka, she didn't. It was who was it?
Or was it Kairi Sane?
Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane came from Stardom. Asuka, I forgot where exactly she wrestled at, but yeah.
But yeah, it's just in general, anytime I see any of the women from Japan come to America to wrestle, it's just they are so good. When Asuka came, it just seemed like there was not many people at her level, because she was just so quick and tough, and I didn't even realize how old she was too. I mean, she's not old, but I thought she was in her 20s still. And she just moves so quick, and she's so athletic, and it's just it's crazy. And she's still going hard too, and she's in her late 30s now. So it's those wrestlers are great. And when I saw Io, I was wow. But yeah, I just could imagine just watching a whole bunch of them, in one promotion. It would be great,
They're all they're just they wrestle over there. It's definitely an Olympic sport. They take it really, really, really seriously, in a sense where even the training is really hardcore. It's different than here. The whole system is different. And if you've seen, of course, I'm sure you've seen a Japanese match where the crowd is silent for the most part, and they clap at certain times of the match where, usually some people in America wouldn't clap at, even just locking up and breaking off, people clap, or just anything really, really small they clap for. So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. So yeah, it's definitely different than your American crowd and stuff like that. But I like it. I think it's really cool. Like, when I've seen like some clips of like New Japan Pro Wrestling, like it's definitely a different atmosphere, and they definitely love their wrestling. And I never knew how big wrestling was outside of America until I like started like looking on YouTube and seeing all these other Japanese wrestling and all. It's crazy, but it's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that wraps up all the questions I have for you. So I just have to thank you so much for joining us today on O Face Wrestling.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, did you want to share your social media with all the listeners so they know where to find you?
Yeah, so again, twitch.tv/Janai Kai. I try to stream at least 2 to 3 times a week. Instagram and Twitter is Janai_Kai. You can just find me on there. You can message me. I message pretty frequently back. So yeah, and then Facebook, I have a like page. If any of you guys are on Facebook, it's just Janai Kai. So.
All right, everyone, make sure you follow Janai on all those social media platforms. I'll have all the links below in the bio. Also, make sure you all give us a sub on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you all so much for listening. And thank you again, Janai, for joining us today on O Face Wrestling.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone.